Iphakamisa izandla ngibheke kuwe somandla usizo lami luvela kuwe Dali wezulu nomhlaba
uyakwazi ukuhlala nokuvuka kwami wena ongazelo ngalali hey watch over me. You watch over me. Come on and declare it if you believe it. You watch over one. Come on if you believe it. If that's what you know, if that's what you know. So I will not be afraid of the terror by night. Yeah.
Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Worship Nuggets with Lihle, where we talk about hopefully all things worship leading, and we sort of try to equip you with tools that will make your job just that much easier. So today I want us to talk about distractions during worship, stuff that we really just want to avoid. You know, during worship, there's like a beginning, a middle, and an ending that you should be able to tell apart. and you should be able to say, okay, this song fits for the first song, second song, and stuff like that. So there's just certain things that we sometimes do that I think don't really work, and maybe we just want to not do them and do other things that might work better. All right. So the first thing for me is I need key changes. So you'll be like in worship, like, oh, Jesus. And then it's like the next song is on a different key. And then you'll just hear that annoying sound, ding, 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 ding. Like that it just sort of cuts the flow, and you don't know how to move on from there. So you just want to avoid that. What we tried to do in my church at first, when we really didn't know how to change keys in such a way that we didn't break the flow, is to just keep the same key during worship, so that there's just none of that, so that there's a natural almost progression. So you want to pay attention to how you change keys if you must, but I would suggest that you just keep the same key during worship. There's other sets, maybe with the faster songs and whatever, that are better suited to you changing keys but I would suggest that during worship sets, which really last about 20 minutes, that you stick to the same key. All right. Another thing that I think cuts the flow or just makes things a bit difficult is when there's no real communication or cohesion between the worship leader and the band. So maybe you want to end a song, or you want to sing spontaneously before you want to go to the next song. So if you're unable to communicate and you do something else and the other guy is now just playing the next song, then that also sort of cuts the flow. So you really want to work on how you guys communicate. You need to know who you speak to as the worship leader about certain changes. For instance, there are times that worship leaders will want no music. Maybe they just want the rhythm part of the band to play. You need to know who to speak to for things like that. You need to know if you want them to play a bit softer or to sort of break it down. You just need to know who your person is that you need to speak to for certain things. I hope that makes sense. And then also, if you want to sing spontaneously, there just has to be that natural movement and natural, do you guys get what I mean? I hope you get it. All right. And then something else that I want to talk about, I must say, I am not the repository for all truth and knowledge. This is just my humble opinion. So we like to exhort people, and that's a beautiful thing. We like to say, just worship God and just forget about, all the things that worship leaders say, and it's beautiful. I would suggest that if you must exhort, or if you feel a need to exhort, you really just want to do most of that at the beginning of the worship set. I'm using the phrase worship set loosely. What I mean is I'm really talking about the slow song section, of the set. I really think that you want to reserve that for the beginning, and just keep it short. Because sometimes, I don't know if you've ever been in a service, I think we're all guilty of doing this, where sometimes we don't really know what we want to say, or we're really struggling to communicate what we really want to say to the people. And we keep going round and round in circles. Or angati, then we're talking about a Bible story where then the angels were there, and then Jesus, what that really meant in the Greek. Then it's like, oh God, are we ever going to sing in this church? So yeah, maybe you just want to reserve that for the beginning. Keep it short, keep it sweet, and make sure it's exhortation. Just a side note, sometimes worship leaders, we get so frustrated with people such that we're not really exhorting them. We're not encouraging them to just worship God, We're really just yelling, That's also a distraction. We're like, listen, ngihamba nalabahamba, mausal. It's like, no, that's not your job. First of all, your job definition, your whole job is to lead the people of God, into worship. So keep it short and sweet, and also don't yell at the people of God. You want to be soft in your approach. You want to make sure that your approach is inclusive and it's really reflective of God's heart. I'd like to say we really want to avoid talking mid-set. Sometimes you are led, like for every rule there's an exception. There are exceptions where you feel like, I'm led to talk about something. Even then, keep it short, keep it sweet. Make sure that you're sticking to the point. Make sure that the people of God know what's happening. Then another thing that I really want us to talk about, you guys need to, I love you and you guys love me, and I'm saying this from a good place, So sometimes there's just too much soloing, for lack of a better term. You know what I mean? Like I know that I've been in situations where maybe I feel like I really want the arrangement of the song to be like this, and maybe if you're the lead vocalist, I'm gonna do the verse 2 times, then I'm gonna do the chorus 2 times, and then everyone else can join me. And you find that everyone is just standing there for a really long period of time watching you sing. And it's like, like, are we ever going to actually get an opportunity to take part in this worship set? I just really want to encourage you guys to think about those things. I know that sometimes we have felt like you sacrifice musicality for Angati church, whatever. But the truth is, the most important thing is to worship and lead the people in worship, lead the people in song, and make sure that you are actually moving with them. When you solo too much, like it's your part, like penobane party yakho, it's like maybe say, then your line is like, It's like stoshabelani type thing. So you want to make your sets as inclusive as possible, and you want to encourage the people of God to sing with you. On that note also, sometimes we don't give good direction during our worship sets. Like you'll be singing a song, let me make an example, your name is above all names. Then the song ends, right? You know the song. And then you want to sort of sing spontaneously, you know. You want to know that you're giving the people clear direction on Gutige. Now we're singing spontaneously. You're singing in your own words, you know, stuff like that. So that people are not lost, because that's also something that's very distracting. Or sometimes something that's also very distracting is when you're now singing a lot in tongues. And then some people really, one, they don't speak in tongues. Two, they don't understand why we're singing in tongues. They're not comfortable singing in tongues. So those things, you just want to watch out for those things, and yeah, hopefully have an awesome service. The last thing, which I also want to say with all the love in my heart, also stating, I am not the repository of all truth and knowledge. This is just what I think. But sometimes I think when we do too many runs, it's very distracting in church. Like, it's like, oh, it's like, yay. Then, yabon, as a worship leader, it's like, yay, yabo. You just, I don't know. I just think you want to limit those things. Don't oversing. Don't do things that will distract people. I can't do runs to save my life, but that is not why I'm saying this. I'm just saying sometimes we oversing and we just sort of take away. I'm not saying don't do runs, you know. I mean, kumnanzi lane, but kumnanzi if you do it in moderation and it's not distracting and it doesn't sort of feel like, I don't know if you've ever sat and listened to music and just felt like, hey, that was such a workout, because bekude space samahala yabo sekuhlale nje uyabona ulalele ngoma bekuphena ukuthi nje you know, So, in summary, things that we find very distracting sometimes in worship, let's be careful about key changes. Let's make them neat, or maybe just stick to one key. Let's not solo too much. Let's be inclusive. Not too many runs. Let's have good communication between the singers and the band. And let's have an absolutely good time in the presence of God.
JF. Add more flavor.